Good evening and welcome to another episode of A Migrant's Journey. This is episode number 33. We have had 32 amazing stories so far. Please, if you haven't watched those, please go ahead and watch them. I have a playlist on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel so that you get notified of any future episodes. And there's so many golden advices and golden stories in there. I highly recommend you to watch it. And it's like 33 episodes. That's like almost 16 hours worth of binging, which is definitely, trust me, it's definitely worth your time. To those who are watching this for the first time, Migrant's Journey is set up to, share migrant stories, specifically in Australia. More often we think when it's time to when we are moving to a developed country, it's all fun, it's a dream come true, and it's a rosy picture that's painted. But usually, because of differences in expectation and differences in culture, the initial job search can be really hard. So that's what we are trying to highlight today. Apologies to the viewers on YouTube. I think you had to wait for some more time in the beginning with the countdown. Uh, and unfortunately, I'm not able to go live on LinkedIn right now. So LinkedIn live streaming isn't happening. So it's just on YouTube. But I'll share this video later on LinkedIn so that everyone can watch this again. Today, we have a special guest with me. I've never met Vineeth before, so this is the first time I'm talking to him as well. So he managed to get a job. I was just writing down what all obstacles he had to overcome. So he got a job in 5 to 6 months on a temporary resident visa in the manufacturing field during this pandemic situation. So that's quite a number of obstacles that he overcame, but he has started working right now, and let's explore how he did that. Welcome to the show, Vinny. Thanks for being a part of this.
Hi, Vinesh. Yeah, thank you.
So let's get straight into things. Who are you, Vinny, and what do you do?
Yeah, so my name is Vineeth, and I'm an electrical engineer myself with 5 plus years of experience. And right now, I'm working as a quality engineer in one of the electrical manufacturing firm here
Hmm.
in Melbourne.
Awesome. So I know we have a lot to cover today, so let's start from the beginning.
Yeah,
When did you move to Australia, and if at all any preparations that you did before moving or before landing in Australia, what were they? Any preparations at all?
yeah. So actually, my project actually Australia kicked off when my wife came here for for her masters.
Hmm.
So she came here during 2019 March,
Hmm.
and like I was in a decision that I will come here on a PR, but like as the point system got more difficult, like I was not achieving the points anyway. So like finally, I came here during January last week of this year before the travel ban and everything kicked in.
Right on time.
Yeah, right on time. So before coming here, so I had made a preparation myself. Like I went, like not normal Google search and creating a profile in Seek and like getting to know what all jobs are available. And then I found that yeah, like so whatever I had experienced in those kind of jobs, those kind of similar jobs are available in Seek as well.
Hmm.
So I was under the impression that the job search would be easy here. Yeah, and so I landed here in Jan last week. So I relaxed for around 2 to 3 weeks, and then I started applying for jobs.
Yeah.
Then
So
the
let's 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 get into the next part now. So how was it, once you landed here in Australia, although
yeah.
you found a lot of jobs that were matching to your profile, how
Mhm.
was the first few weeks or months like? I think you probably had two phases after post-COVID and pre-COVID. So how was
Yeah,
your pre-COVID time? What surprises were there in store?
yeah, like culturally, like I found a bit difficult, the first 2 3 weeks managing here. But then I came into track actually. So the first 2 3 weeks, like I was just relaxing, like finding an accommodation first, and then getting a car, second-hand car, then trying to settle in. So I kind of like in 2 3 weeks we just roamed around, myself and my wife. We roamed around for to some places, and then finally I started to do this job search. Hello.
Hello? Yeah, you
Yeah,
went on mute. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then, parallelly, I started working on a part-time basis.
Mm-hmm.
So this was one of the food manufacturing industry,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to apply for jobs in Seek.
Yep.
Then the rejection procedure started. So whatever I was applying for, I was getting a rejection on that. And then after the travel ban kicked in and the corona situation got worse, so whatever the jobs I was applying for, like even though like I had experience on that position or the experience what they were mentioning, I was still getting rejection, as well as some of the jobs they were withdrawing or canceling those vacancies.
Yep.
So I got really frustrated. Then, actually, one of my distant relative here told me about a career coach
Mm-hmm.
who is located in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I went to meet him,
Yep.
and then we sat together. We worked on our resume, and I should say that he just revolutionized my resume.
Nice.
So yeah. So to be frank, those kind of templates you won't get it online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so with all the info, it was a, like 3 page, 4 page resume, but with all the info, because I was since I was experienced, so
Mm-hmm.
he wanted me to show everything on the resume. And the way I did, like I was just applying on Seek, like I applied for around 300, 400 jobs, I think. So yeah, then like he said me that that's not going to happen. Like you have to be proactive, and even I came to know about you from him.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So even I tried to be a part of your meetup as well, but I think by that time, like the COVID happened and you had stopped that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started the job search. So like I tried to categorize, not applying for everything.
Yeah.
So when I find a job like which is almost similar to my experience, so what I did is I tried to find people in LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
and even the coach helped me on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he also tried to find contacts with that company,
Mm-hmm.
and we tried to edit the resume as with respect to the vacancy what
Yeah.
available. And this actually helped me in getting 3 interviews
Oh, that's
in
nice.
the yeah in like 3 months.
Did you get any before for the 300, 400 applications?
No. And
Okay.
the funny fact is that the 3 interviews which I got, like I got it like directly, talking to the HR or
Mhm.
getting contacts from LinkedIn. And those 3 jobs I had applied through Seek as well, and Seek rejected me on that.
That's very interesting, a really
Yeah.
interesting story, Vinny. So I want to touch on a few points.
Mhm.
Especially, you said you hired a career coach.
Yeah.
Can you give a brief of what the career coach does for you? You know, this is for people who don't know what a career coach does or what they are about, and it costs a lot of money too. I mean, there are a lot of career coaches out there, and it's a huge investment. So, how
Yeah.
would you justify paying that kind of money? And no one can guarantee you a job. That's always there,
That's
right?
correct.
So
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
that expectation, so what do they do, and how did it work for you?
Yeah. So, like when I landed here itself, I had heard about career coach from my, from my friends as well as from my relatives here. But I was under the impression that that's not required. It's a kind of investment, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll go like I have 5 years experience. Why should I hire a career coach?
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I said, nothing happened. Then I thought of, okay, I'll invest on a career coach and see how it goes. So this particular guy, so when I went there for the first time, he sat with me. He understood what my experience is. He understood what are my relevant industries, and he tried to find out those industries here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And he like gave me inputs on like you can apply here, you can apply here, like that. Then, as I said, we sat together. So my resume was completely different from what it is now when I
Okay.
came here. Yeah, so we sat together, we developed a new resume with all the details. Because what actually he wanted from me is that when yeah, if I apply through Seek, he wanted me not to get rejected with that resume. So he needed all the details in that.
Mm-hmm.
And even he helped me in changing my LinkedIn profile. Actually, like I was not that much active in LinkedIn,
Yeah.
but when I came here, like I totally changed, like added all the details and started even like when there is a job, when there is a vacancy with a relevant experience of
Mhm.
me, then what we did, we sat together and we edited the resume in such a way that when the employer sees it, they understand that we have that particular experience.
Yeah.
And the career coach helped me in finding out the contacts that those who are working in that particular industry.
Hmm.
Sometimes he'll be able to find it, sometimes not.
Yeah.
So in cases where he will not be able to find it, then what I did is I did my own research. I went to LinkedIn, tried to connect people, talk to them, first introduce yourself, and then that you just have to tell them that this is the reason why I
Yeah.
contacted you. Not straight away, but
Yeah.
after the introduction and everything. And sometimes you'll get the HR's mail, sometimes you will not get.
Mm.
It depends. So like again, like if you find the relevant vacancy, so even try to mail your resume to the group ID as well. So I did that for like 3 or 4 vacancies. That will help actually.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
you would highly recommend. I just want to make people aware of this. There are plenty of career coaches out there.
yeah,
Some charge like huge amounts. Some are
yeah,
average, not very expensive. But in general, especially as migrants, when we do currency conversion and stuff, it usually
yeah,
comes to a huge
yeah,
amount. But
yeah, yeah,
trust me, it's totally worth it. Just like Vineeth mentioned, he mentioned that before he took the service of this career coach, he applied 300, 400 jobs and not even a single interview call, right? You're
yeah,
wasting your time for that. You're wasting the money that you can get earlier for that. So when you put it in that perspective, it's completely worth it. While I understand it's a huge investment, I think it's completely
yeah.
worth to get a mentor. And please note that no one can guarantee a job. If anyone
Yes,
says
that's correct.
we
Yeah.
we guarantee a job in weeks, run away from them. that's
Yeah,
that's
like
that's
even like so like this was the fourth or fifth resume that we sat together and worked on.
Mhm.
So the first four were a total failure. Okay, like out of that, I got interview for two of them, but still, it was like the first three were a failure. But still, like I had the belief in him that if, at the end of the day, like I have a strong resume and I know how to connect to people, and do the right way of job search.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
yeah, so it was still I mean, I think the traditional job search method is you think you have a good resume and you just fire on applying,
yeah,
apply. But this,
yeah,
what you did right now is you had a polished resume. You invested a lot of time and you invested per application, right? And
yes,
then find you're not just applying, you're doing a lot of things around it, and this is a typical mistake that people do as well. If you hire a resume writer, for example, they will do
mhm,
your resume and give it to you. That's not the end of the game. There is so much you have to do around it. You have to connect to people, you have to send them message, you have to find who the connections within the organization. I mean, it's a
yeah,
whole package. Right?
yeah.
It's not that you pay $200 for your resume and done. It
No,
doesn't work
no,
that way.
and believe me, nobody can write your resume the way like you can.
Yeah,
You can put the maximum information on it. So you can get the templates, but
yeah,
you have to make your own resume.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Vinny, did you have any very different or very bad experiences during the interview process or recruitment or anything at all? I mean, it was a roller coaster, right? So just to make sure that these things happen here, so that
Mhm.
people are ready for it.
No, like all the three interviews that I was a part of. The first interview was again a manufacturing firm, and everything was face to face. Okay, so especially I think in manufacturing firm the interview has to be face to face.
Hmm.
So the first interview was like 45-50 minutes of interview with the managers as well as the HR people. So the first interview went well, and personally I thought that I'll be getting that job. And even like before the interview, I had a chat with my career coach, and he gave me tips on, how to approach all the questions.
Hmm.
So that, like, really, I thought that it went well, and then after, like, and even due to this COVID thing, like, they took actually 2 months to get the decision on that,
Hmm.
and I got the reply that I was rejected,
Oh, yeah.
and then yeah,
Getting that rejection after 2 months is really hard.
yeah, and I tried to get a feedback from the interviewer, but I never got that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was one of the. It's, I won't say it's a worst experience or something, but I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So, like, when the second interview came, I was really afraid to approach. Like, I didn't know what happened with the first one. Like, where they
Mm.
went wrong. Is it my approach? Is it the way of answering, or is it the attitude, or something like that? So I was really not sure about that. But with the same preparation, I went for the second and third one was as well. So the second and third one was like, 2 days in a row,
Hmm.
and one was just a casual role, which I didn't want to take up, and the third one really worked out for me.
Awesome. And I think that's a really important lesson. I mean, you don't you shouldn't give up. I mean, there is this thing that, okay, if your interview goes really well, we start dreaming, okay, we'll get that job, we'll
Yes,
start this, and we stop
exactly. Yeah,
focusing on the next interviews, right? But it's very important
exactly.
that you continue that. Unless you have an offer letter in hand, nothing is done, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very important
exactly.
to be persistent, and I understand. I'm so happy that it worked out well in the end.
Mhm.
But I think you also mentioned that it was a learning experience. It was not even though it took 5 6 months, it wasn't a frustrating ride for you. It was the, you probably did not realize that it was 5 months, right? So that is one
Yeah.
thing that I like that you shared. So how did you come to that sort of mindset? Because when you're a job seeker, you kind of count days. Okay, I've been unemployed for these many days. So what to do next? What to do? So how
Yeah.
did you, or what was your thought process there?
Yeah. So actually, I was working part time as well in between. So after the COVID thing happened, and I, like, after the rejections, so I actually was lucky enough to meet a consultant here in Melbourne. So they had a partnership with Amazon,
Mm-hmm,
and they selected me as an associate, operations associate, and I was working there parallelly, but it
uh-huh,
was on a casual part-time basis. So that was like 20 25 to 30 hours a week.
mm-hmm,
So I really got the time, to look for the main job as well, for the electrical job actually. And like, in 2 to 3 months, I sort of went into a comfort zone where I was like, okay, this is fine, I'll go with this, let's forget about the rejections, I'll go with this for the time being. But then when I thought about it more, like, since I was on temporary visa again, so I thought that a permanent job will really help me in my peer application as well.
mm-hmm.
Then again, I went out of the comfort zone and started looking for the jobs again, and finally I'm here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's really good. I mean, it worked again. As I said, I'm really happy that it worked here. I mean, against all the odds. Remember, there
yeah,
was a temporary residency visa, there was a pandemic situation, and manufacturing
yeah,
happening right now. So, against
yeah.
all these odds, things worked out for you. So, Vineet, would you have any advice for new migrants or even international students out there? I mean, it's a very different world over here,
Yeah.
especially with regards to the job search aspects of it. So, any advice that you'd like to give to them?
Yeah, so during the job search, actually the hardest part is, getting the interview call.
Mm-hmm,
So there is a, like, every job, whatever job you're applying, there will be 80 to 100 applicants for the same job.
mm-hmm.
So a normal platform like Seek or Indeed, so the chances of your resume, even though, like, you have the relevant experience, the chances of your resume getting through is very difficult
Mhm.
unless you have a reference.
Yeah,
So if you have a reference in a company, it will be very easy for you to land directly to the interview.
yeah,
Yeah, but without a reference, it will be very difficult. And I really thought that with my relevant experience, it would be easy to get the job, but it was not the case. So if you do not have a reference, I would suggest you to think out of the box, you can get a career coach. It's upon you. Though, even though like there is an investment. Okay, I
Mhm.
understand that, but compared to what you'll get after the job, it's a very small amount of
Yeah.
investment.
So on the point of reference that you mentioned,
Yeah.
again, for people who don't know how to get that reference, I mean, the usual complaint that I get is I'm new here, I know no one. How can I get a reference, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so reference in the sense I meant like colleagues or friends. So like you can try to get connected to people on LinkedIn. Like if you find a vacancy from X company, you can go to LinkedIn, find that X company, look for people who can talk to you, look for active people in LinkedIn,
Hmm.
send a connection request. You can talk to them, but it is not guaranteed that they'll help you. They
Yeah,
can, they cannot.
yeah,
Yeah, sometimes they'll help, but they will not refer. Normally, people like who doesn't have an idea on who are you will not refer you, but at least you can talk to them and at least get the HR's mail ID, or
hmm,
where you can directly directly the resume reaches to the HR rather than applying through Seek or Indeed like that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
So
it's
there is no
important.
guarantee. Yeah, there is
Yeah,
no guarantee that the employer will see your resume through Seek or
yeah,
Indeed. It's a
yeah.
very hard process.
And I like that. Yes, you can approach a lot of, especially during this time.
Yeah,
LinkedIn has made the world small, right?
really.
You
Yeah,
can find hundreds of people, but will they refer you? That's a different story, because unless they
yes,
know you,
exactly.
you have to kind of build that relationship. You have to kind of talk to them multiple times,
Yeah,
before
yeah,
earning the trust that they can refer you. So you have to be a bit careful on that, but it is possible. Anything is possible, especially
yes,
through LinkedIn
exactly.
these days.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing your story today, Vinay. Anything else you'd like to add? Did we miss something or?
No, like I really wanted to be a part of your meetup before, but anyway, I didn't get the chance to do that.
Yeah.
I think I had attended one or two of your online sessions,
Hmm.
but I like the timing clashed and I was not able to complete that
Yeah.
anyway. So surely I'd like to meet you as well as the team once the COVID situation and everything is over.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time, Vineeth. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm not sure why we couldn't go live on LinkedIn today. That was some
Yeah, no
issues
worries.
out there, but um, we are there on YouTube. You can rewatch it on YouTube. So I think it's still a seamless experience for you.
Yeah,
I have another episode coming up on Friday. So hopefully you can get on that. Again, if you can't find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on here on YouTube. If anyone would like to reach out to you, Vineeth, what would be the best way? Would it be LinkedIn or
yeah, LinkedIn would be good.
LinkedIn? So definitely reach out to Vineet. And if you have any questions for us, leave a comment on YouTube and we'll get back to you. Or, just message me or Vineet and we'll get back to you. So
Yeah,
thank you.
and
Yeah,
thank you, Vinesh, for whatever you're doing. Please continue that.
absolutely.
It will be really helpful. Yeah. So even though I was not a part of your meetup, still I went through your story and I understood how like it was difficult for you as well. I understood that,
Yeah.
but the way you sailed through it, it was great.
Thank you. I mean, I don't think I sailed through it. I actually struggled through it, but that that has taught me a lot of lessons. And my objective or my vision is that no one else has to go through that same struggle. And if I can even do a little
Yeah.
bit of change, that would be a great step. So thanks for saying that, Vineet. Appreciate that. So
Yeah.
bye bye. Please leave a
All
comment.
right. Thank you.
Do subscribe to my channel as well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.